All right, let's get to this is the one that resonated with me and I didn't even know it existed. The F it list or the anti bucket list. Thank you so much for joining us today on Second Act TV. I'm so happy to welcome back Nick Lituanio to Second Act. He is a fellow YouTube creator right here in our space 50 plus. Nick, thanks so much for joining me again.
It is always good to see you, and thank you for having me back. It's always a good time, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I have a discussion I think that fits right into, where your space, as we say. Your channel is 50 plus fun. I think they can find you under Nick Lit. We'll link to everything. But you focus on, living your life to the fullest, just like what we do. What brings you joy, what brings you happiness, just living life. And that's why I thought of you for today's topic. I ran across an not that old a movie. It was in 2008. There was a movie called The Bucket List that made the whole concept of bucket list, kind of brought it back into consciousness, if you will. And bucket list, for those that actually don't know what it is, it's a list that you make of stuff you want to do before you die.
Before you kick the bucket.
Exactly. Before you kick the bucket. And watching the movie and thinking, like, you know what? That's a really great idea. Let me look into that. And I found some interesting stuff, and that's what I wanted to talk with you about. That's a good idea, and it may not be such a good idea. And there's actually 3 different lists that if you Google this, it's bucket list, there's a reverse bucket list, and then...
Don't say it.
My favorite, the F it list.
Yes, the F word list.
The F word list. And Google it. It's a thing. It's a real thing. And I tell you what, it makes sense. So Nick, anyway, let me throw it over to you. Because I know you have some definite opinions on this. Let's talk about bucket list first. What do you think?
Well, I haven't always. Recently in my life, within the last 5 years, I made a lot of changes in my life because I was waiting to do things. I had a list of things that I wanted to do, and I was working and I was in the grind and I was doing what I was supposed to do. And I realized that this list wasn't doing me any favors. It was just kind of sitting out there mocking me. And I'm like, I don't think this is necessarily the way that I want to live my life. And, that's what the basis of my YouTube channel is. It's like, look, just because I'm over 50, I'm 59, so I'm well over 50. But just because I'm over 50, why do I have to live by my father's rules or my grandparents' rules around getting older? I don't have to do that. And to me, the idea of a bucket list, of having this list of things that I'm going to do before I die, just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't sit right apparently with a lot of people. Like I said, my initial reaction was, oh, what a great thing. Let's talk about that. That could be really important. And then I thought about, well, what about my bucket list? What would I put on my bucket list? And it's like, I got nothing.
Man, you're living a good life.
No, well, I don't know. It made me question myself. And, most bucket lists, this is interesting too, what is written is they're focused on adventure, on travel. And as a matter of fact, Match, this is interesting too, Match.com did a study, and they have like 75% of their users or something, don't quote me on this, but it's close to that, have bucket lists and are attracted to people who have bucket lists. It actually makes you more attractive, and they now have a function that you click on to share it's really, I think it's fascinating in terms of what we're learning. But again, it makes you focus on what you don't have, right?
Right. I believe that words matter, and I think it is absolutely 100%. You should have goals. You should have things that you want to do. Right. And you should be doing them now. if you're able, it shouldn't be a list that you're waiting to do. It should be things that interest you, excite you, that make you fulfilled today. And I guess that's the issue that I have with the bucket list, right? Okay, so you want to travel. Say you're 60, your bucket list is I want to travel after I retire. Well, at 65, all of a sudden you have a knee problem or a hip problem or mobility issues or something else. You've put something off that you could have done, but because it was on this list of things, you never got to it. And I guess that's the way I look at it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the biggest plus is that it really does, the concept of the bucket list makes you focus in on what you really want. And I think that's always a good thing.
Right.
And that it does, and I know you like this, it can push the boundaries of your comfort zone. That, you think about, well, I haven't done this because I did what I should do, now you're getting more adventurous, but that can also work against you if you never do it, and then you really feel bad about yourself. And that's where the reverse bucket list comes in. I started reading about that, and that kind of made sense. And the reverse bucket list is looking not to the future, but look at what you've accomplished throughout your life. It as I said here, it actually can make you happier. That science has shown that thinking about what you accomplished here on Earth already will motivate you to even do more. Talk to me about the reverse list.
I think 100% that is where I want to be. I think being in a place of gratitude, looking at your life, what you have accomplished, what you've been able to do. For me, it puts me in a much more positive frame of mind, and it makes me feel better. It makes me feel more capable, I suppose. And so that reverse idea of, wow, here are all the things that I still have to do. Wow, that's a long list. If you reverse that and go, wow, look at all of the things that I did, then the things that you want to do, I think they become more achievable. I mean, that makes sense to me, right? It's like, I've done all these things. Of course I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. And they say that the motivation factor, which the bucket list pushes, that they say that the reverse can even do more, because you look back at what you already did and now, maybe I can do this. I can do this. So I like that too.
Yeah, and it's so consistent, right? It's so consistent with this idea of a gratitude list or being grateful for what you have, or how that has been proven to psychologically kind of rewire us. If you go into this place of gratitude, if you think about the things that you've accomplished and the things that you are grateful for, it changes our mindset. And so I really like that, and that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said one more interesting thing about looking back, and that when we think about these big things, like what you might put on a bucket list that would make you happier or feel like you achieved something, in looking back, you realize it's the smaller stuff, just a compilation of all the small things in life that you really realize, wow, that made me happy. Again, lots of good stuff to think about. I'm going to have links to all this so you can kind of make up your own mind. But I do want to get comments on these three, and we'll get to the third one now.
Let me just, I want to say something about what you just said, which is, I've been married. I've been lucky enough to be with the same woman for coming up on 30 years. And when I think about our relationship and what makes me happy about that, it isn't the trip to Italy or the van trip that we recently went on or the big, having kids. It isn't any of those things. I think it is the day-to-day support and kindness, the small things that we do for each other that makes me feel fulfilled in that relationship and makes me feel good about it. And so, that, like what you said about that, really makes a lot of sense to me and very much resonates.
Oh, good. That's what a nice thing to say. You have such a lucky wife. She has a lucky. Or
you don't know all the stories. Come on now.
No, I always love the way you talk about your relationship. It's really nice to hear. All right, let's get to this is the one that resonated with me and I didn't even know it existed. This is a thing, as I said earlier, the F it list or the anti-bucket list. Here's why this makes so much sense to me. As they write here, it frees you up to be as energetic. energetic and alive as possible when it goes to the concept of letting go and just not caring about things that are weighing you down. Give me your opinion on that, and then we're going to go into some details.
Well, there's a guy, Mark Manson, and he wrote a book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving the F. And there is this idea, especially I think as we get older and we've accomplished things, and maybe we are a little more financially secure and emotionally secure, the ability to kind of say, I don't care about that. That thing doesn't matter to me. F it, I think is a really powerful thing to be able to do. You know, recently, Betty and I, the last couple of years, we've done these van trips where we've gotten in a small van and went for 2 weeks in this small van. And honestly, I was afraid to do it. I was like, I wanted to do it, but the idea of spending 2 weeks in a 19-foot van with my wife, when usually we're not that close together, it was kind of frightening. And it was this kind of thing that I said, well, F it. I mean, let's try it.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that could, well, the worst thing that could happen is we could end up divorced. But luckily that didn't happen. And because I kind of let go of the outcome, I said, F it. I was really able to see a side of my wife that I actually didn't know existed, that she could really go with it and hike and do all of these things. And it was all because I said, F it, let's give it a try.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. That's actually one of the points on here is that just say F it to limitations. That just go with the flow and just, live in the moment. So, I totally agree. I want to go through a couple that really did resonate with me. And one is F the past. Is that the past is gone, don't stay stuck in it. You know, live in the moment. And I'll combine the two. It's F the past, F the future. Don't just get bogged down with stuff you can't control. This is the moment. This is the time to live life. I think you agree with that.
Well, right here, right now, it's an idea that is in my channel that I try and basically put throughout, which is, look, you have this moment right here, right now is the time for you to choose to do the things that you want to do. And I believe, wholeheartedly that, if you have the means, stop waiting to do the things that you love to do. Stop waiting to fix the relationship, to go on the trip, to bake the cake, to go to the gym, whatever that thing is, today is the day. And as humans, it's super hard to do, right? It's just back to the bucket list. It's like, I can't enjoy the moment. I have a bucket list because I have to look forward to the things I'm going to do. Well, F that. Let's live in the moment and enjoy where we are right now, and practice that, because it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, we have to be honest. It's not like, oh yeah, that's
right. It isn't. The other, and this totally resonated with me, is F what other people think. And let go of obligations of being with people you really don't want to be around.
Oh, yeah.
That it's okay. It's okay to let go and don't feel bad about it.
I think I'm pretty good at that, because my wife and my daughter are like, you should be nicer to people, and I'm not nice. I mean, be clear here. I work at the gym as a personal trainer. I'm good with people, but there's also people in my life where I'm like, I don't have time to be emotionally invested in what you think of what I'm doing. Why should I be? I mean, my spouse, my kids, my very close friends, who will call bullshit on me if I'm doing something, I want those people in my life. But, people who are outside of that small circle,
right,
they don't know me, really. Yeah. And why should I care what they have to say?
Right. I think that really comes with age. Within the last 3 years or so, that has become very pronounced with me. I just don't have time to be with a bunch of people that I could care less if I ever see them again. And this whole Facebook stuff brought us back with a lot of high school people, and that was fun once or twice. But that's it. I'm done with it.
And I think, as we get We are on the other side of this Facebook social media thing. We very clearly remember the world where that didn't exist. And so
Right.
I look at my 20-year-old daughters and what they're dealing with and how intrusive it is and what they think. And I think you're absolutely 100% right. It comes with age. It takes a while. You're secure in yourself. There are other parts of your life that maybe you're more settled with, and you just stop caring what other people said. And so for me, it's just I just don't want to become that cranky old guy. Get off my lawn, kid. I don't care what you think. I want to stay relevant. I want to
Yes.
be engaged in society,
Right.
but at the same time, I don't want to let the bastards drag me down.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
that kind of part of it too.
Right, right. We're starting to come to the end. I want to. There's one other one that I want to throw out here, and that is expectations or trying to be someone you're not. The shoulds that just choke the life out of us.
Yeah. Well, because I'm a personal trainer and I work with people who are older, because I'm older, the issue I have with that particular thing is there are certain things that we should be trying to change for our health. Okay. And it's not that you can't accept who you are. And I'm not asking anyone to be an Instagram model or a fitness model. But I do think that especially as we get older, movement, exercise, strength training, these things they make such a huge difference.
Yes.
That being said, I kind of agree with it.
No, I obviously I agree with you. Big time into health and fitness, because if you don't have your health, forget your bucket list. You're not going to be able to do anything. So yes, I think that's important. I think that one of the points they made is like being an athlete or participating in stuff that you just hate. If you hate going to the gym, F it.
Find
You,
something else to do.
yeah,
I would say.
exactly.
Find something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Honestly, the genesis of my YouTube channel is this idea of breaking the over 50 rule book, which is really expectations.
Right.
Break the expectations that society has put on you. It doesn't really matter. You're an individual and you get to decide what it is that you want to do.
Right.
And so that is what I'm pitching on the channel, and just really trying to set an example and have people come along and join and have some fun.
Yeah.
So I really believe that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and obviously we will link to your channel. And Nick is a fabulous producer. I mean, you did this professionally for years and years, and that shows in your production value. So thank you for that. And I look forward to the comments on this. I thought this was a topic that really brought up a lot of thinking, for me. So, what do you believe? Bucket list, reverse bucket list, effortless, something else. I'd be interested in hearing more about that. Nick, is there anything else you want to say before we close off today?
No, it's as always, it's just a blast to be with you. And this was a great subject. I think it's definitely something worth thinking about, and kind of taking action on whichever of those three buckets you want. I think it's definitely food for thought.
Yeah. Well, I think all of them can get you to, depending on your interpretation of it, to a happy, healthier, more vibrant life. So thank you again, Nick. I always appreciate having you on, and look forward to the next time you can join me here on Second Act TV. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.